In the headlines, Department of State Services calls for vigilance against planned attacks during Salah festivities. Bandits kill 3 farmers, abduct many in Kaduna State. Bill Gates pledges to spend $7 billion in Africa in next 4 years. And on the foreign scene, tributes paid to men killed in catastrophic implosion of Titan submersible. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And now the news in detail. The Department of State Services has called for vigilance ahead of the Eid al-Kabir celebrations, saying that reports indicate plans to attack worship and recreational centers before and during the festivities. This was contained in a statement by the spokesperson for the secret police, Peter Afunanya, which was made available to newsmen on Thursday. The DSS also advised operators and patrons of public places, including markets and malls, to be watchful and report any suspicious movements and persons to the relevant security agencies. The service said it will continue to partner with sister agencies for necessary proactive drills to frustrate criminals and their activities. The statement also disclosed that a joint security team comprising the DSS, the Nigerian Army, and the Nigerian Police Force carried out operations in Nasarawa and Kogi states, neutralizing and apprehending some criminals. According to Afunanya, the team apprehended Abubakar Muhammad, also known as Abu Direba, a suspected gun runner on 19th June along the Abuja-Kefi Expressway in the Kefi local government area of Nasarawa State. The statement added that in another joint operation in the early hours of Thursday, a team raided the hideout of Kabir Bala Oko, a one-time jailbreaker and notorious gang leader in Ejule Ofu local government area of Kogi State. Oko and his gang members were said to have engaged the troops in a gun duel, during which he was neutralized, with others fleeing the area. Ahead of this year's Eid al-Kabir celebrations, the price of ram in Kano State has doubled due to the increase in the cost of living. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that unlike last year, traders say they're recording low patronage this year. His report.
Sailors Association. Salisu Ilyasu is the chairman of Ram Sailors Association in this market. He says the price of ram and other related animals used for sacrifice by Muslims has tripled compared to what was obtainable last year, and that not so many people are coming forward to buy. Honestly, this year there is problem. Last year many people are coming forward to buy ram, but this year you can see the market is scanty. It's only us that are within here. There are not so much buyers coming here to buy, and this is because of the so much problems that we are having. The problem of feeds and supplement, high cost of transportation courtesy of fuel price increase, among other challenges, are largely responsible for the problem this year.
Tsadar abincin dabbobin da kuma tsadar mai.
Well, some of the problems that also come together to bring about this much challenges that we are facing is the issue of food and supplement. The food we are buying is so expensive. The transportation that we used to transport from places far and wide where we used to go and buy these rams is also very expensive. Sometimes we pay 10,000, 11,000 naira per ram before it gets to Kano from, let's say, Bauchi. According to traders, although the price has tripled, but they try to bring things down in such a way that people can afford. Yet, the price, they say, ranges from 60,000 naira to 250,000 naira per ram, the worst within the last 3 years. You see, this ram that you are seeing, they are very expensive. Like this one, last year we sold this one about 30,000, 35,000 naira. But this year we are selling this type about 60,000 naira. So you can get ram of 60,000 naira up to 250,000 naira, in most cases up to 300,000 naira. In some places they are even selling it up to 400,000 naira. Rams and other sacrificial animals like cow and camels are nevertheless available in most markets visited across Kano State. But there are growing concerns that the price could even go high in the next coming days. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Moving on to security, 3 people have reportedly been killed and several others kidnapped by bandits who attacked the Sabanlai community in Birnangwari local government area of Kaduna State. The police and Birnangwari local government authorities are yet to comment on the incident. A resident, Anas Musa, confirmed the attack on Friday. He said that the bandits stormed Sabanlai village at about 12 p.m. on Thursday and started shooting sporadically, killing 3 farmers in the process. The Lagos State Police Command on Thursday paraded 32 suspects for their alleged involvement in cultism, traffic, robbery, and other criminal acts. I beg your pardon. Now, the parade took place at the command headquarters in Ikeja, GRA. The report.
While parading the 32 suspects, the Lagos State Police Commissioner assured Lagosians that the command under his watch will not relent in the fight against any form of criminality. The commissioner, who was represented by the command's public relations officer, Benjamin Hundeyin, said the command recovered 1 hammer, 5 axes, 2 knives, 5 locally made pistols, 2 locally made double-barrel guns, 22 live cartridges, 2 expanded cartridges, as well as 1 Toyota Hilux. Hundeyin further stated that they arrested 8 cultists from Ikorodu, 3 from Isolo, 11 traffic robbers at Ijora, and 5 other cultists from Badagry.
Happy to inform the people of Ikorodu that with their cooperation, we've been able to take out 8 of the suspects causing unrest in their community. We also have an interesting case here. Is a case of stealing. The Toyota Hilux you can see right over there, the white Hilux, was actually on a car stand, and 2 people came in the middle of the night to rob this vehicle. The car stand is somewhere in Ilupeju. It later turned out that one of the robbers is actually a security guard employed by the owner of the car stand. But the day he was off duty, he connived with one other to come and rob that place. And the security guard on duty that day was actually seriously injured, and they were able to take away the Toyota Hilux. And we immediately got information, we swung into action, and were able to recover the vehicle in faraway Kaduna State.
Command also paraded a police sergeant for failing to report at his news station in Osun State, but rather resorted to extorting unsuspecting motorists.
One of them is a police officer, but is a deserter. He has been transferred out of Lagos State to Osun State for over a year, and he has refused to go report. He has remained in Lagos, conniving with some other civilians to engage in this nefarious activity. His name is Sergeant Oluwaniyi Ichanusi, 36 years, and his partner in crime that we have here is Maxwell Agida, 42 years. He's a driver, commercial bus driver, corporate driver, who joins in to accost motorists, claim to be police officers, and claim to take them. They have different gimmicks: take them to EFCC, take them to police, lock them up, make sure they go to jail, and their victims, out of panic, would actually part with huge sums of money. So they have been arrested.
The command assured that cultism, which has been identified as a major security challenge facing Lagos, will receive the needed attention in order to ensure that it is nipped in the bud.
In health, the Bill Gates Foundation will commit $7 billion to Africa in the next 4 years and will support routine immunization in Nigeria and the Global Polio Eradication Initiative in northern Nigeria. The billionaire philanthropist announced his foundation's intentions on Thursday at a parley with representatives of the Nigeria Governors Forum and Nigerian industrialist Aliko Dangote at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Speaking at the forum, Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima said the Tinubu administration was determined to address the concerns that surround the financing of primary healthcare system in the country. Kehinde Amodu reports.
Despite the media show that heralded the announcement of the eradication of polio in Nigeria, there are still traces of the disease in some states of the country. But there is a marked decline in prevalence of variant polio virus in Nigeria from 84% in 2021 to fewer than 200 cases in 2022. The Vice President acknowledges that polio is one of the major primary healthcare challenges in the country, and the plan of action is to provide timely domestic financing for the procurement of vaccines and boosting of industrial capacity to produce vaccines.
We won't stop until we build a robust institutional framework to ease access to vaccines and ensuring palliatives. We won't stop until we are sure that the resources deployed by our partners and our counterpart funding are disbursed for the intended purpose. We won't stop, ladies and gentlemen, until we are sure that the children in our remotest villages have access to first-rate primary health care and nutrition like their peers in our cities.
This is where billionaires Aliko Dangote and Bill Gates come in. Their foundations have been partnering with the federal government and state governments for several years, supporting efforts in eradicating polio and improving routine immunization, nutrition, and primary health care in the country. And they intend to do more.
To achieve all that, as you begin to think about what topics to prioritize at the NEC and Nigerian Governors Forum, I would like to call on all of you to put human capital development on top of your list. It is very, very important to have it on top of the list.
The governors are ready to further collaborate with the Dangote and Gates Foundations in the coming years to improve primary health care in their domains.
The MOU that we have signed, Bauchi is one of the states that benefited. And today I can say without fear of contradiction that we have done so much because of the templates that we have brought out.
Today in Nigeria, there is no functional vaccine research and production area. We were faced with that challenge when COVID-19 actually showed up.
I'd like to specifically request for your more support towards improving agriculture, working directly with smallholder farmers and government and national NGOs that are not afraid to go to where poor people live.
At the end of the day, decisions made by the National Economic Council in the next 4 years will determine whether Nigeria can guarantee sound health for its citizens. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control on Thursday in Lagos made public its findings on the investigation into the presence of ethylene oxide or its metabolite in noodles and their seasonings, saying all noodles in Nigeria are safe. The Director General of NAFDAC, Christiana Adeyeye, who briefed journalists in Lagos, said ethylene oxide or its derivative was not found in any of the instant noodles produced in Nigeria and other seasonings. Now, NAFDAC investigation was occasioned by the recalls of Indomie instant noodles special chicken flavor by the Ministries of Health in Malaysia and Taiwan on account of the alleged presence of ethylene oxide, a compound associated with an increased risk of cancer. Adeyeye said NAFDAC deployed the technique using gas chromatography and mass spectrometry detector, and a total of 114 samples of instant noodles and the seasonings were received. She explained that the compound of interest, ethylene oxide, is a colorless, odorless gas that is used to sterilize medical devices and has been implicated as a cancer-causing chemical. On the delay in the analytical activities in the laboratory, she said it is not deliberate, as they had to place orders for the procurement and supply of certified reference materials, reagents, and chemicals from overseas. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break, we take a look at physics student with solution to fuel price hike. Stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of some of our top stories. We told you that Department of State Services calls for vigilance against planned attacks during Salah festivities. You also heard that bandits killed 3 farmers, abduct many others in Kaduna State. Moving to other stories, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has predicted cloudy weather and thunderstorms between Friday and Sunday across the country. This is according to NIMET's weather outlook released on Thursday in Abuja, predicting a cloudy atmosphere in the northern region with prospects of thunderstorms. NIMET noted that the prospects of thunderstorms are expected over parts of Borno, Adamawa, Kano, Bauchi, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, Gombe, Jigawa, and Taraba states later in the day. The agency has envisaged thunderstorms over the entire region in the afternoon and evening. NIMET predicted sunny skies on Sunday with few patches of clouds over the northern region with chances of a few thunderstorms over parts of Bauchi, Adamawa, Taraba, Jigawa, Borno, and Gombe states in the morning hours. According to it, thunderstorms are envisaged over entire region in the afternoon and evening hours. According to NIMET, the public is advised to be cautious, especially for areas where thunderstorms are expected. Strong winds are likely to precede the rains, and as such, trees, electric poles, unsecured objects, and weak buildings may be felled. Amid soaring fuel prices and epileptic power supply, a Nigerian inventor, Muhammad Adamu Faguji, has upgraded a solar power generator he invented to generate 350 watts of electricity. Faguji, who is a graduate of applied physics from the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University in Bauchi, says solar energy is the solution to Nigeria's fuel crisis and epileptic power supply. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Since the removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government, Nigerians have been battling with high cost of petrol to power vehicles and electricity generation due to epileptic power supply in the country. Passionate to provide solutions to the energy crisis, Muhammad Adamu Faguji, who studied physics, has invented a solar power generator which he recently upgraded to supply both direct and alternative power.
I invented this device which is called a portable solar generator, and I call it dual purpose solar generator because it produces both AC and DC electricity at the same time. We can use it to power AC appliances and DC appliances simultaneously. The idea of, before I constructed one AC generator, solar AC generator, that one can only power AC appliances such as television, AC bulbs, AC fans, all varieties of AC appliances. But this one is like an upgraded version of that first generator I invented in 2021. This one is a dual purpose solar generator because, as I said earlier, it can be used to power DC and AC appliances simultaneously.
The young Nigerian inventor said apart from being affordable, solar energy is environmentally friendly, which can help mitigate the impact of climate change.
And I think the best way to do that is to go for sustainable source of electricity, and that is why I selected these solar gadgets, because in solar, you know, the solar source, or we can say the solar electricity, is the environmentally friendly source of electricity, and it doesn't emit carbon because we don't use fuel here. This generator, you don't need to buy fuel, and you can see now that the fuel subsidy is removed, so the price is so high in such a way that ordinary people cannot afford to buy.
Faguji, who called on the federal government to invest in solar energy, is looking forward to develop his invention for self-reliance. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Since the announcement by President Tinubu that subsidy on petrol is gone, The NNPC had adjusted the pump price to reflect the recent realities. Now, while urban dwellers buy the product at the official price, villagers in Benue State who depend solely on black marketers in rural communities are lamenting the hardship they're facing as they buy the product at the rate of 800 naira and 1,000 naira. Jimmy Adzande has the report.
Across some of the villages visited, there is a lull in commercial activities due to the high cost of petrol. This is because some Benin villagers who before now rode on motorcycles for their daily activities have parked them and now resorted to walking long distances to their farms and other destinations.
Here, we buy fuel for 800 per litre. If we go to Shan now, it's 1,000 naira. So the price of the transport from Fada to Ugba, before it was 500, 700, but now it's 1,500 for a person. Before you go to Ugba and come back, you will spend about 3,000 naira as transport. So how are you going to earn? If you take your product to market now, how are you going to sell it? And you know, when the price of fuel raise up, here in the farmers' product beat down, as if farmers plant their crop in the marketplace. They also plant in the farm and transport to the market.
The scale business operators in the villages said the fuel hike has affected commodity prices and by extension patronage.
In the increment of the fuel, everything seems as if it's slowed down, both marketing, both movement. Price of things jacked up in the market. We find it difficult to access movement because of the high price of Okada and the other vehicles. And even the most important thing is that to get the fuel easily is not easy for the commoners. It's very difficult for us, especially we that are in the rural area.
For commercial motorcyclists, the bad roads and fuel hike has made them lose patronage.
Due to bad road that we are having in this our area, even to went out, we are facing some challenge because people that we are going to be carrying them out, the issue of the money and the cost of the fuel, they are not giving us price because they are not giving us amount of money that we need from them, and we are also facing the challenge.
Dealers of PMS said the cost of transporting the product to the hinterland is a reason for the price difference.
In business, the Bank of England Thursday lifted its key interest rate by 0.5 points to 5% to tackle stubbornly high UK inflation, despite such a move worsening a cost of living crisis. The higher than expected hike to a 15-year high was the 13th increase in a row. The decision came one day after data showed UK annual inflation remained at 8.7% in May, defying expectations of a slowdown. The UK inflation rate is the highest among G7 rich nations. Prior to the data, markets had expected a smaller quarter-point increase. The half-point lift was in stark contrast to the Federal Reserve, which last week pressed pause on US rate hikes after a sharp easing in the country's inflation. Now, away from Nigeria, tributes have been paid to the 5 people who are now believed to have been instantly killed in a catastrophic implosion of the Titan submersible during its dive to the Titanic. The Titan, operated by the US-based company Ocean Gate Expeditions, had been missing since it lost contact with its surface support ship on Sunday morning, about an hour and 45 minutes into what should have been a 2-hour dive to the world's most famous shipwreck.
On Thursday, after days of aerial and underwater searches, a robotic diving vehicle deployed from a Canadian ship discovered a debris field from the submersible Titan on the seabed, 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic. According to Coast Guard officials, 5 major fragments of 22 foot Titan were located in the debris field left from its disintegration, including the vessel's tail cone and 2 sections of the pressure hull.
Initial thing we found was the nose cone, which was outside of the pressure hull. We then found a large debris field. Within that large debris field, we found the front end bell of the pressure hull. That was the first indication that there was a catastrophic event.
On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families.
The White House said the loved ones of the 5 men had endured a harrowing ordeal over the past week. The statement thanked the U.S. Coast Guard along with Canadian, British and French partners who helped in the search and rescue efforts. The UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly described the update as tragic news and said the UK government was closely supporting the British families affected. OceanGate, the company that operated the Titan and whose CEO, Stockton Rush, is among the dead, while expressing their grief, hailed the sub's passengers as true explorers who showed a distinct spirit of adventure and a deep passion for exploring and protecting the world's oceans. The victims were Hamish Harding, aged 58, 48-year-old Shahzada Dawood, and his son Suleiman Dawood was 19-year-old, Paul Henry Nigolet, 77-year-old, and Stockton Rush, who was 61 years old.
And finally, in sports, President of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, has said the Football House will seek the opinion of soccer-loving Nigerians before deciding the fate of Super Eagles head coach Jose Peseiro. Peseiro's contract will expire at the end of this month. There are reports that the NFF will request Peseiro to take a pay cut to remain in charge of the Super Eagles. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.